When Jungkook stood on the Calvin Klein stage and successfully commanded the spotlight of the fashion world with his international star aura, the public was suddenly surprised by another equally shocking fact. Jin, his bandmate in BTS, was stealing attention from Korea in an unexpected way. Is this a moment where two BTS members are demonstrating double domination in different realms, or is this a tactical strategy that was indeed designed to shake up the global media? This question is now igniting the curiosity of fans and entertainment industry observers. Jungkook, known as the Golden Magne, appeared on the Calvin Klein runway with confident charisma. Every step he took on the United States catwalk became an embodiment of the fusion between a global celebrity and a symbol of international brand power. His face was emblazoned on giant screens, his movements were the focus of cameras, and his reactions were broadcast in real time to various parts of the world. However, as media attention was drawn to Jungkook, the silence coming from Korea presented another surprise. Jin, who was not physically present at Fashion Week, suddenly became a hot topic. Why could Jin, who seemed silent, trigger such a huge spotlight? The answer lies in how the Korean public responded to this situation. Netizens began spreading photos, comments, and narratives that emphasized Jin's role as a figure capable of maintaining the balance of the spotlight. If Jungkook displayed global luxury and popularity, Jin appeared as a calm but authoritative figure, stealing the spotlight without needing to be on the runway. The public wondered, did Jin's silence become the most effective weapon in capturing the hearts of fans amidst the international glitter? This phenomenon sparked lengthy discussions among entertainment industry observers. Some argue that Jungkook's success at Calvin Klein cannot be separated from the overall global appeal of BTS. However, on the other hand, an analysis emerged that the public spotlight on Jin is a form of longing and respect. Jin is considered the face of Korea, who steadfastly maintains cultural identity, while Jungkook becomes a symbol of global expansion. These two poles form an interesting balance. One dominates the world, one is rooted in the homeland, both complementing each other in maintaining BTS's dominance on the international stage. Undeniably, this double phenomenon shook social media. Hashtags praising Jungkook's appearance competed fiercely with hashtags alluding to Jin's presence. Even more surprisingly, some netizens argued that Jin received more attention in Korean media than local coverage of Calvin Klein. It was as if there was an unplanned battle for the spotlight, but it happened naturally. Jin, with his calm demeanor, seemed to say without words, "I'm still here, even if not on the runway." This raises a critical question. Is media attention really fair? Jungkook worked hard to appear on one of the most prestigious fashion stages in the world, but Jin, with his silence, garnered just as much attention. This is proof that BTS's appeal never depends on just one individual. Each member has a unique role that can create a big wave, even from thousands of kilometers away. Surprises like this keep BTS relevant, always present in discussions, and difficult for other groups to match. Furthermore, fans see this phenomenon as a reflection of BTS's philosophy. Each member has a moment to shine, and the spotlight is never singular. Jungkook radiated his global light on the Calvin Klein stage, while Jin strengthened BTS's roots in their homeland. When these two narratives run in parallel, a unique harmony is created that expands BTS's reach while deepening their bond with fans. Fashion critics also did not remain silent. Some mentioned that Jungkook's presence at Calvin Klein was a strategic move by the brand to attract a young audience loyal to BTS. However, there was also the opinion that Jin's spotlight from Korea actually strengthened the group's collective appeal, proving that even if one member appears on the global stage, other members still hold control of public opinion in their place of origin. These two sides of the coin show how broad BTS's influence is, not only as individuals, but as a cultural phenomenon. Fan reactions were also layered. Some were proud to see Jungkook dominate the runway with elegance, while others felt touched that Jin was still able to drive the conversation from behind the scenes. More than just a celebration, this became a reflection of how popularity can come in various forms: the bright spotlight of the catwalk, or the serenity of a figure who only needs to be silent to speak. In the end, the phenomenon of Jungkook dominating the Calvin Klein stage and Jin quietly stealing the spotlight from Korea is not a competition, but a double narrative that enriches the story of BTS in the eyes of the world. These two moments complement each other, proving that BTS is not only about the light of the international stage, but also about the silent strength that maintains their identity and relevance. The big question now, is this a coincidence or a grand strategy carefully designed? Whatever the answer, the public is made unable to turn away because the spotlight on Jungkook and Jin shows that BTS remains the center of gravity of the world's pop culture. The phenomenon of Jungkook appearing to dominate the Calvin Klein stage and Jin suddenly stealing the spotlight from Korea seems like two major events competing in the public eye. However, is everything we see and read really pure fact, or is it part of a media narrative game that is deliberately shaped? This question needs to be asked because in the digital age like today, it is difficult to distinguish between real information and engineering that is deliberately polished to create sensation. Is it possible that we are trapped in a large stream of news that prioritizes virality over truth? We need to remember that many sources of information regarding this phenomenon come from TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, to online media that often focus on speed, not depth of analysis. If so, is it appropriate for us to immediately believe every video clip, short comment, or viral article without further research? Is it possible that the spotlight on Jin, who is said to be secretly stealing attention, is just an interpretation of fans that is then amplified by social media? Or is this a communication strategy that is indeed designed to make the public talk? Let's take a closer look. Jungkook, with his role at Calvin Klein, is clearly in the vortex of legitimate international media. Photos, videos, and official coverage are real evidence. However, regarding Jin, who is said to be dominating the spotlight from Korea, is that really happening on a large scale? Or are they just a handful of narratives reinforced by fans until they seem like a common fact? Doesn't this teach us to always question, to what extent can the data we receive be accounted for? Imagine if one netizen's comment on Twitter can be raised as a news headline. Doesn't that mean we are entering an era where personal opinions can easily be perceived as public facts? Do we realize how thin the line is between reality and interpretation? This is where the importance of skepticism lies, not to reject all information, but to ask critical questions before swallowing every piece of news raw. The next question: is it possible that this phenomenon was deliberately constructed to keep BTS's name at the top of the conversation? This kind of strategy is not new in the entertainment industry. Sometimes it is precisely the absence or silence of one member that can be managed in such a way that it feels stronger than the bright spotlight received by other members. Is this a coincidence or a grand scenario designed to attract the world's attention? We also have to reflect. Do fans really care about the actual facts, or do they enjoy dramatic and emotional narratives more? Isn't it sometimes that what makes this news alive is not the truth,